All right, everybody, welcome back into the Dragon's Den. My name's Digital Dragon, and I'm a 3D printing variety streamer here on Twitch. It means we do everything from printer unboxings, like our X1 Carbons over here, to full printer builds, like our Vorons, and a lot of beta testing as well, like the box turtles up here that need to be rebuilt to the final spec, and a lot of other things. So welcome on in, everybody. Hope you're having a great day. Hope everybody's getting prepped and ready for either OC Maker, I think it's Orange County Maker Fair this weekend coming up. We have a Maker meetup at Ecovate 3D that I will be hosting down there at the in Raleigh, North Carolina. Hey, Evil Diesel, how's it going? And for those of you that are heading to 3D Printopia, we're less than 20 days away. So time crunch is on. Especially for this build that we're working on today because, well, we're taking it to the show. We picked this up from Zura out at Midwest Rep Rat Festival, and we're delivering it to him at 3D Printopia and supposedly printing, in a completed and printing day. 1 day, 17 days, about 17 days. Working on printers during the travel is perfectly fine, right? I mean, that's anticipated. No, seriously though, one of the things that we're trying to do is get Zura's build buttoned up, and we'll get that going and printing. I have been working on our Rift 600 build down here. Oh, that's some filament, but we have been working on the Rift 600 down here. This will be going with us. I think I'm about as tuned from an initial standpoint as I can get. Now what I need to do is figure out my filament path, and we will calibrate our E-steps for the extruder and start just trying to put down some plastic, which is kind of where we're at on that build. The couple other things I've been working on is printing out maker chips for myself. Miss Dragon had hers pretty much done, but I'm printing out some maker chips. And then we'll also be, I've also been printing out some parts. And I did find some pink, but I'm almost out. So we've been printing out, these are 2 tool heads. These are the other 2 tool heads. And these are the modular frames that the tool heads will dock on, or the modular dock frame. So I've been printing out parts for the Stealth Changer build, which we will start on when we get back. And the plan for that build is going to be doing something a little different in the fact that I'm going to put my conchs to good use, right? I've got a couple of the conchs here, and we're going to be using the conch hot ends, or the bamboo style hot ends from Vetus in this build. And if I get some things from a Kickstarter event, aka Luke's Labs Pika, I will put 1 or 2 of those in there as well. But that setup that I'm getting from LDO, or that I have gotten from LDO, it came with 2 Orbiter 2.5s and 2 Galileo 2 extruder editions. So 2 of them are going to be running Orbiters. The other 2 are going to be running Galileos. I haven't built the Galileo. I know we had a Galileo on this one, but I didn't really need to build it. It was more of just swapping a couple of parts here and there. But yeah, that's going to be my first full build of a Galileo. So that'll be fun. Hey, Eagle the Dragon, welcome in. So yeah, we've been doing some printing for that. I'm going to go down tomorrow. I'm going to be working from Ecovate 3D tomorrow, And after a few meetings in the morning, I'm going to head over to EPAX 3D and check out their line of ABS that they just got in. They got, I believe it was 23 new colors in ABS or ASA. And I'm going to go look at that because I need to get another burnt titanium, at least a second roll of burnt titanium, and then a contrasting color so I can also start printing out parts for the Ender 3 NG build that we're going to do when we get back. So just trying to work on some printed parts. If you're out there on TikTok and you find me on TikTok or you find me on Instagram, I think I've been doing them with the shorts over on YouTube as well. Basically, I'm posting some parts of something else that I'm printing with the Kiditech Q2 printer that me and Evil Diesel just unboxed this past weekend. And yeah, so far it is printing wonderfully. I am printing in Bamboo Lab Basic PLA Gray, which is really good because one, gray really does show layer lines and layer inconsistencies and print defects, right? So that's really cool. The other thing I wanted to do was say thank you once again to Pez Liz because I was able to have 4 spools of filament sent her way from Sparta 3D, and she's going to bring that to me at 3D Printtopia, one of which is the sparkle fluorescent pink that I need to be able to finish the Stealth Burner build over here because we're doing that on Fey Dragon, which is a 2.4. And then the Box Turtle rebuild, she's got some sparkle fluorescent red and sparkle old copper as well, which is the color scheme on Iron Dragon over here. And this is one of my oldest Box Turtle builds built from a beta kit. I'm going to tear this down. I'm going to rebuild it, and we're going to enclose it. So this will have an enclosed Box Turtle. This one will have, the Box Turtle will go away from here, and this will be turned into a stealth changer, a 4-head stealth changer. And then my other Box Turtles, I'm going to print, rebuild to the latest release spec. And maybe we're going to be doing some giveaways or sales. Okay? So, hey, Bexy Beans, how are you doing? Big heart to you. Big heart to you, sweetie. No, we didn't. Yeah, there is no such printer ever devised. It's a figment of your imagination. Exactly. So, in all of that rambling there, I needed some more purple. I did have a spool of purple that I've been going on, but I wanted to make sure I had it, so I needed to get a spool of purple. So this spool of purple ASA is actually one that I won off of Trader, 3D Print SOS's stream the other night. So I ordered this, and because you're never going to leave money on the table when you have a coupon, right? I also saw this color and had to get it. So this is a dark purple. And I'm finding that I'm kind of liking the purples. And trying to show this with the plastic on. I will go ahead and open this up. I'm finding some of these colors, if you try and leave them in the plastic, they just don't show well. And I also saw that Pez Liz may not pop in. She may, but she may not, because I did see that she is going to be on, what is that, the Unspooled podcast with Layer by Layer. And I can't remember the other gentleman's, I think Moji and Layer by Layer. Later this evening at 8. So here is that dark purple ABS. So yeah, that's a nice purple too. I mean, Midnight Meteorite's cool and all that, but this dark purple is a really nice color. So there will most likely be a printer in that color at some point. Okay. And we haven't even got to 3D Printopia, so God only knows what I'm going to buy at 3D Printopia. I I had, believe it or not, I had a couple of the stairs that did not have filament on it. Yeah, that didn't last too long. The stairs, the landing, yeah, it's all over the place again. But where were we? Oh yeah, we were going to be working on a 3D printer. So where we left this off the last time, we have the tool head is almost completely wired. We have a couple of more, but we have our end stop and the probe wires to do, and then the umbilical. We need to install our screen, and we need to deal with our fans. Now, one of the things that I will show you guys real fast on the fans is I am getting worried about these fans on here and here because this moves. And if one of these wires hits that fan, it's going to be a bad day, right? If we're lucky, it just kills the fan. If we're not lucky, then it affects these wires, which is the DC voltage going to our board. So I'm going to take this off. I'm going to remove the rear two fans, and we'll just leave the fan that's blowing over our controller board, which will reduce the overall number of wires. And what I'm probably going to do is just extend one set of wires or extend the fan wires as needed to bring them down and plug them in. This one should be able to go just fine. This one will have to get extended a little bit to make it to the fan outlet. But that's what we're going to do. Two fans should be plenty enough here. We shouldn't need to go crazy with cooling here. Stop the PSU from moving and keep the fans. Well, the problem, Aussie, so here's the thing, is this is using the aluminum DIN rails and not the steel DIN rails. So that's why it's a little loose on the DIN rails. And I really can't get around that other than like trying to put some tape, build it up, something like that. Or trying coming up with some physical stopper. And really those two fans, one's going to be blowing directly onto the side of a slab side of the SSR. So it's not doing any good anyhow. It's going to hit the side here and blow front to back. Same thing here. It's going to hit this side. Some of it will go through the mean well, but not much. This is where our more critical path is. So we'll get rid of the rear two and just save us a little bit of time there. And then we won't need to go through and use the nice cool little things I just bought, which are the three-way ones from XR Bunker. So we'll take these two off. We'll leave those other two there. We'll wire them in. Am I planning a heat sink for the Pi? Yeah, I'm going to put a heat sink on the Pi. I just had not yet. And oh, by the way, the thing that keyed me up on doing that was also looking at Steve Build's stream. And he needed the rear fans as well because of running into the PSU. So, but yes, I will put a heat sink on the Pi. That's something I normally tend to forget until the last moment when I'm starting to do the tuning, and then I go, hey, it's getting hot. Oh yeah, I should put a heat sink on it. And it's one of those things, if the Raspberry Pi came with a heat sink, you'd remember to put it there, right? But it doesn't. So you always forget to, or at least I always forget to put it there until the last minute. Hey, Shrimp Father, how are you doing? Hope you're doing well. We are in the process of yeeting a couple fans, and we're doing that because, like, this one here is going to be blowing right into the side of the SSR, and if this wire gets in there, then we're going to have an issue with it stalling the fan, stopping the fan, or causing some other issue. So it's just going to be easier to remove the fan to prevent any bad things from happening. That also means that we're only going to have two fans in it, which means we'll have the ability to just extend the wires and directly connect them. So that'll be easy enough to do. The one I don't think I even need to extend. It'll just be this side that needs to be extended a bit. Okay. And I am going to go ahead and rotate these fans 90 degrees so that the fan wires are down near the bottom edge. Just makes it a little bit easier to do the routing. I hope everybody's doing good. Sorry for the late notice too. I had gotten on a call with Mrs. Dragon and just kind of threw my timing off a bit. And I need to do this on the other side too, but not as critical, but yeah, I really shouldn't need four fans. He's doing good, Bexy Beans. She is, like I said, out in Colorado at the moment, and she will be caring for Eagle the Dragon as he is having some medical stuff done here in the next couple of days. Just visiting with family, and then we'll be doing the our travel here shortly for 3D Printopia. And then we'll have a little bit of time off, and if things continue to go the way they are, then November we'll be going to Germany for Formnext. So that'll be really cool. Me and, well, I haven't been back to Germany since 2010 when I left. Darn it, what is up with my hands tonight? I do not want to comply. So that'll be fun. And it's close enough to the old stomping grounds because it's in Frankfurt, which is about 45-minute drive from Wiesbaden, which was where I was stationed for 6 years with Evil Diesel. So, and I hear there's a Bexy Beans that's near that area as well that I could possibly go say hi to. And hello, Miss Liz. How are you? You will be excited to know that I opened up a spool of Polymaker filament on stream and I didn't stab it. I actually cut it open like, a sane, rational person would. And she made it. Yeah. And Liz, I did just see that you were going to be on Unspooled at 8. Is that tonight? So we're not going to the UK. It's more like Miss Beans may be near Germany at the same time that I will be in Germany. Yeah, tonight. Okay. And remind me again, Liz, is that Moji and Layer by Layer? Who's the Unspooled podcast with? Say podcast. It's a Twitch stream, but Beans needs to go from the UK to Germany to squish the dragons. Ah, okay. Yeah, she's come and give us some hugs. You get all the giggles too. There you go. Okay, so it is on Layer by Layer emoji. It's a simulcast stream then. Okay. I thought that's who it was. I was just like trying to. I saw the whatchamacallit, words on stream and all that. I saw the picture and I was trying to put names to faces, which is a pain sometimes. Hey, Killer Prince, how you doing? Good watching your stream earlier today, sir. So I'll demonstrate with this, but because that jetpack is skeletonized, it can warp some depending on how quickly they took it off and how it was treated in shipping. So I have one that fits perfect and I have no issues with. And then the other one, like 1 out of every 10 or 12 prints, it goes just hard enough into the front end stop that it jars that front jetpack cover ever so slightly and triggers the sensor that the cover has fallen off. So that's what I was trying to say. But if you're doing that CPAP, that should hold the structure of that skeletonized front face enough. Okay, and then the turbo kit is stopping it from going flush, and you ripped one of your X1 wires, right? That was an X1C you were putting it on. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to depin the. So we've got our power and ground to the fan, and then we have a tachometer cable. So we're going to depin these two, and we're going to do it into a 3-pin connector for our fan connectors here. I need to pull up the Leviathan board schematics, the pinouts, to figure out the pinout order. Signal, ground, power. Signal, ground, power. Let me. Yes. And the other thing to remember, the first one here is the Z probe. So don't put it in that first one. You want to go into the second one and then the third one. So we'll depin this. we don't need to redo any of the crimps. We'll just depin this one, repin it into a 3-pin connector in the right order. The run-out sensor wires. Oofda. Well, that sucks. Isn't that how it happens, though? It's like, oh, this should be a quick, easy upgrade, and then you break something, and then when you go to fix it, you're like, well, now that I'm doing that, I might as well do this. And then it starts. Like Mr. E pinged me. I was chatting with him in your stream about the Nebula. And remember, the Nebula, everybody, the Nebula is just the purpose-built frame for the Ender 5 0G Mercury set of upgrades, right? So 0G has a series of upgrades. Those upgrades include Nebula, which replaces the standard Ender 5 frame with a purpose-built frame that you can enclose. Mercury 1 is the Core XY gantry mod for the Ender 5 series. The Hydra is the triple lead screw bed system a la, a Trident. So it's just one of the 3 upgrade paths. That one goes there, and that one goes there. It's one of the 3 upgrade paths. So you could literally take an Ender 5 and put it in the Nebula frame, I believe, without doing everything. Well, you'll have to at least do the Merc and the Nebula at the same time, because it's the only way that it'll all fit inside the confines of the frame. And I am not going to cut this any shorter, because one, that's a decent enough amount of play there. I will run it underneath that CAN bus wire, though. But yeah, it's just another iteration. You can do the 0G Merc without having to do the Nebula frame. But yeah, once you build that Nebula frame or you see it in person, which is why I want to bring mine, you'll want that Nebula frame. I brought the smaller one. I built the smaller version with the Ender 5 Pro. I did that, kind of a while ago now. And it, everybody that sees it asks me about it. And like, ooh, where can I get that at? Where can I get that at? And I just have to keep passing them off because it was still a beta. And now it's out of beta. And I'm so happy that people can start experiencing that. All right, cool. So these are perfect size, except for I have a blue versus a yellow, and I really don't have any yellow wire. So we're just going to switch the yellow over to blue here. We're just going to cut the ends off. We will have to recrimp these because we need to extend them. So we'll cut the ends off. We'll extend these wires, and then I'll recrimp them. But yeah, everybody kept asking, where did you get that from? How do we get hold of that frame? And I am glad to say that it is now available. But Mr. E is going to wind up, and I know he's going to do the same thing that I did, which was my intent was to move my 0G Mercury with a Hydra setup over into the Nebula frame. And then Turtle Crawler tells me about his all-metal gantry. I'm like, okay, I'll do the all-metal gantry. Oh, well, there's a 9 mil belt version of it. Okay, so now I'm doing the 9mm belt version, which means I need to reprint all of the hot end mount stuff. Which also means at this point that, well, I might as well do the upgrade to the hot end that I've been meaning to do. So we're going to do that. And then I was like, okay, I still need to move the rails over from the old one. And I go to move the rails over, and I moved one rail and was like, it's a black rail on a gray frame with magenta parts. It doesn't look right. So I bought all new rails, linear rails. And then when I was almost done getting the gantry done, what's his name? Turtle Crawler says, well, did you get the Y or the Z motor mounts and the bed yokes? No, I didn't. So now I'm going back to Syncut Send for the Z motor mounts and the SOS or SLM printed whatchamacallits. I'm going to move this like this because we're going to need to solder the end of these wires. I got the bed yokes SLM printed and all of that. So one thing just led to another, and I basically just built a whole new printer. The only thing that came off the old printer was the Z motors, the Z lead screws, and the 150 millimeter bed yoke linear rails. So the 90% 0G Mercury printer is sitting down at Ecovate inside the Optimus P1, and it's going to get, I'm working with Sandhills 3D right now. I'm going to have him just procure the things that need to be replaced on it, and yeah, he's going to take that printer, and we're going to obviously figure out a cost, but I'm going to take into account that he's got to put parts in it. And I will get it back up and running because that is in a state where all we need to do is replace those parts and turn it on, and it's going to start working again because all the electronics and everything stayed in that printer. Yeah. Killer, you said you're going to OC Maker Fair this weekend? Yeah, I haven't been able to get out to there, and I'm not going to be able to go to Vice this year because, one, October is it's October is cybersecurity month, so that's when a lot of the conferences and stuff are for cybersecurity every year. So I normally wind up going to one of those, and then November I'll be going to Formnext to support the automated project out in Frankfurt, Germany. So that'll be a blast. That'll be the first time that Mrs. Dragon, I believe, has been out of the country. You have updates, Bexy. You know, you can type in some updates in the Discord, and I can look at that a little bit after the stream. Okay. Now, we can go through and we can do the solder job, or we can go through and do the heat shrink solder job, which is what I'm going to do. These things are fabulous. It enables you to, the heat shrink's already there. You'll shrink down both ends, and then you'll put your heater right in the middle, and you'll melt that solder over your bare wires. Bada bing, bada boom, you've got a solder joint, and it makes it so much easier. Can't remember who showed me this, but yeah, it does make life a little bit easier. Just make sure that your wires are going right there in the middle. Make sure you have a decent enough amount of wire exposed. And we just need to hit it with the heat. It's going to be easier said than done because the way that it keeps wanting to move on me. You go there, you go there. Just going to let this get warmed up a bit. You know, get a nice good solder joint there. And red to red, we'll do black to black, and then we'll do blue to the yellow. And we'll be able to get these connected together. Projects in Dad's garage. We're doing some heat shrink solder connectors. Which I find work pretty well, and especially when they're in a place where you're not looking for the aesthetics, you're just looking for a good solid connection, it works even better. If you're looking for aesthetics and a very, very short, whatchamacallit, connection, like tied up into a tool head, then you'll want to use standard techniques, but this works perfectly fine. And I tend to hit the two ends so it shrinks around the wire so the wire can't go anywhere. And then I'll hit that center part. You'll watch the solder melt, and that will join the two wires and make them one. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Now we just need to crimp the ends. I need one more shrimp connector. Yeah, passports do get expensive. Mrs. Dragon and I just got passports in the last year or two. Well, let me rephrase that. I got mine in the last year. I think I got mine a year after she did. So we're good for several years. Yeah, Projects in Dad's Garage. I apologize. I missed your stream earlier today. I know you were doing the one of your blaster builds, and I missed it. Darn meetings. Meetings, and we'll just say things popping off and people being stupid. Once again, I do cybersecurity, so there's never a dull moment. Especially when your incident response team for the company, who also is they're also the people who manage the the logs for the entire company, come back to you and say, hey, we need you to let us know what you find in the logs for this. And we're like, we're sending you the logs. It's kind of your responsibility to do that. Well, we don't know what exactly we're looking for in your logs. Yes, you do, because we did this whole engagement thing that you mandated us to do. So yeah, we're doing that goat rope. So if you've ever been involved in one of those, that's how I spent part of my day today. You make sure no ground is in the middle, red is at the end. See, I about did that backwards. About did that backwards. That would have been bad. Okay, so signal, ground, and positive. I say signal, it's not signal, it's pack reading. That will go there. Cut this down here, out of the way. Just like that. And there we go. Just like that, our fans have been wired. So once again, we yeeted the fan here and here because there was just too much chance of, one, this fan is blowing right into the slab side of an SSR. It's going to do zero good. It's not going to go anywhere. And then this fan, if this slides in transit at all, which you can see it can, it's going to jam into that fan, and we're going to either burn this fan out, or we're going to tear up these, wires. Not a good thing. So it's just better to yeet these two fans. We'll leave these two fans going. Before we forget, we do need to put a heat sink on our Raspberry Pi. I do have a set of those. Just let's figure out which size we want to use. A little bit bigger than it needs to be, but that's good. Now, the best of all worlds, this is a Raspberry Pi, just a 4 or 5. This is a 4. So if you had a Raspberry Pi 5, they do actually make a dedicated heatsink heater or cooler. But I don't know if you'd be able to power it this way. You might have to power it separately because of the current draw and stuff. Road trip to Canada? Yeah, we want to do that too. Yeah, people are always stupid. That is true. You'll be at Earth? Yep. I'm assuming that your plan is to bring a metric butt ton of soft foam flingers to the event, just without the soft foam flinging objects that cannot make their way into the event at all. I have technically been in Canada. I deplaned off of a C-130 in Canada in the middle of winter, in the middle of the dark. Got taken into the terminal, which consisted of a little convenience store. And once they got the fuel or the plane refueled, they put us back on the plane and off we went. But yeah, we need to go up there. You can have them, you cannot shoot them. You can have the one, do not bring a hyper-realistic 3D printed any type of weapon. If it's a cosplay, if it's a soft foam dart flinger, that's fine. You can bring them. Do not bring the darts. If anybody puts a dart and the dart comes out of one of those, they will immediately ask you to leave because it is on a college campus. That is the issue, Projects in Dad's Garage. That's why we can bring the weapon, right? Or excuse me, we can bring the dart flingers. We cannot actually use them because it is a college campus. That is actually a federal law. Too many chances of something going bad or somebody just seeing and making an assumption and calling something in. But yeah. Yep, I get that. I get that, but they're a registered event and they've been cleared for that particular thing. This, yeah, it's just easier because I've had mine and I keep wanting to bring it, and it's just safer not to. Okay, so the bottom semi-button up, we still need to add our screen in. Let's go ahead and do the screen, and then I think everything else we need to do is up top. So let me flip this over on its back. We'll grab our screen. And oofta. Squeaky got a little. All right, she's back. She squeaks. She got a crick in her neck though. Got a crick in her neck, but she still squeaks. Now I'm going to toss the box and leave the. We'll just put the extras in a bag in the container. We're going to need this. I am pretty certain that's not going to be long enough. gonna take off some of these little. I mean, it's neat, but it's a pain in the butt. Cool that they do it, but kind of a pain in the tuchus. Well, come on, you. There we go. Hey, Timor, how's it going, friend? Hope you're doing well today. Yeah, next year will be Philly, and should be different. There'll be a convention center that does a lot of cons and stuff like that, so we should be good to go with a slightly different rule set. Oh, and so Liz, I did tell everybody that I got another purple that I was going to need for my stealth changer stuff to go with the stuff that you're getting for me. And then this is the one that I opened up on, properly. The dark purple ABS. This looks so good. And I know my camera probably does not do it justice, but this looks so good. I'm gonna have to do a printer in this soon. But it's not gonna be the stealth changer because that's matching the color scheme of Fey Dragon. It's not going to be the box turtle because the box turtle build is going to be updating one of my box turtles to the latest spec by LDO and adding an enclosure to it. And that'll go over on Iron Dragon, the Trident, over in the corner. And that may get the other Jabberwocky. That may get my other Jabberwocky. And then the the stealth changer, that's box turtle, then the Ender 3NG is going to be all Epax filament. It's going to be burnt titanium. And then it's also going to go to a contrasting color that I haven't picked out yet. I'm going to be going by there tomorrow and picking out a color. So that'll go there. I need to see how this is going in. This is, we're going to lay this in there. It's going to screw in from the back. Those are, what are they, 2.5 millimeter screws? If I remember right. Where does that feel like it's tight? Are you catching on something, or? I need to make sure the buttons are not hitting anything, and it may be that it has to go this direction instead of, there we go. If I put it the other way where the buttons are down at the bottom, which is normally the standard orientation, because I don't know, I may have just installed one on one of the printers on the Rift. With the buttons down here so you can push them to change the orientation stuff, I can feel it rubbing down here, which means you can have those buttons pressed. So by switching it around, the buttons are up here out of the way, and they're not going to be in a depressed state catching this bottom here. So it's going to go in like this. And then I'm going to have to make sure and get the cable done up. And here to there, yes. Once again, I just did this like 3 days ago. So what I do with the cables? What did I do with the cables? I just had them out. Dang it, Diesel, did you sneak in and steal my cables again? Because I don't think I used the last long, well, partially long cable yesterday or the other day. And like literally, what did I do with the cables that I had yesterday or the day before? Oh, not there, not there. You're kidding me. All right. I'll be right back. I did just get in some other cables yesterday, so I'm going to go grab those since I can't seem to find the ones I used the day prior. Okay. Cables, and you got to try and hold these together, but because I don't have them actually put together yet. But so give you an idea of what I've also been working on. These have been being printed off on the Key Q2. Trying to do a lot of the body panels right now, and then I'm going to do the bolts so I can start bolting some things together. And I really, you know what? How much you want to bet? I just put this here, but how much you want to bet that I may have done something semi-smart, like throw the package of cables in with the rest of the screens? No, I did not do that. So I wasn't that smart. I thought I might have thrown the rest of the cables in there, but that's okay. This is supposed to be another set of cables. So oh, they're going everywhere. All right. Need to start packing that suitcase. You didn't unbox the parcel yet? All right. Well, at least open it up to make sure that the spools that are there are the right spools. But yeah, I'm just a mess. I'll agree with that too. I really have no idea where that flipping other cable is. We'll flip over here, and I'm going to have to slowly undo this because they take all the sizes and put them in there, and I only need like one size. It's probably going to be, that'll do it. Take all the sizes, put them one in a row after the other, and then wrap them up on themselves. Yeah, there we go. Now, what I ought to do is take these and put them right in there so they're with all of the displays, so there will be no issue. And then, why? Nobody touched you. Why? Why'd you go running away? Stay right there. And then I always have to look at the LDO documents to make sure I put the cables in right. So this is what I'm going to do here. Touchscreen setup for clipper. Which way does my cable go in? Oh, the cable side where you see the cable side where you see the wiring and then the pins. That's the side that goes on your Raspberry Pi, and the writing goes towards the CPU. So stick that in there like that. Really? Did you clamp down? Okay, yeah, you are. Make sure it's straight. It is. Now, on the screen side, that is the wave share. This is the Big Tree Tech. Your exposed pin side is going to be facing the inside towards your internal ribbon cable. So you flip this up from the back. You'll find your exposed pins, slide that in, and then flip that lever down. Once again, we'll come back to the bench side. So this lever folds up. You want the pins to be visible. Slide it in, make sure that it's not wobbling, and then put the lever back down, and now you're good to go. All you have to do now is feed your panel through and set it in place. Holding your ribbon cable over as needed. Really? Wow, that ribbon cable's got to be slightly bent there. Kind of don't like that. Now, once again, these are 2.5 millimeter screws. So I need my 2.5 millimeter screws. I don't have there. These, or do I? Yes. No, I have a bin for 2.5 by 6. Those are 2s. Uh-oh. What row? If I remember right, when I just did my display, I may almost be out of my 2.5 millimeter screws. Don't give him an ego. Well, you know, like I need help developing my ego, Diesel. Whoopsie. Angle, hole. There we go. So I only have 2 of these particular screws. I'm going to have to go hunt down some more 2.5 millimeter screws. There. I don't know why these aren't even getting in the. There we go. Might not even be able to get this one in. All right, let's scoot this so I can get a little bit better lighting. What the hell is going on? When all else fails, just go catty corner. So 1 at the bottom, 1 at the top. We should be good. We got enough stability to the screen for right now. We dropped our ducky. Like I said, she got a kinked neck there. It's going to take a while. Let's see if we can get the edge there. There we go. Ready for the peel? Let's bring you in for the peel. We got to do the peel. Here we go. Grab that edge there. Look at that. Nice, pretty, pristine screen. That will stay that way over about 5 seconds. Yeah. Now, I have a bunch of M2 by 6. I just don't have any more of the M2 by, or 2.5 by anything. So I'll have to see if I can't find some more 2.5s. I know, just order some. It's the easiest way to get them. Maybe. Oh, I do have a couple more. I've got some 2.5 by 6s here. Everyone deserves a little ego boosting, yeah. His head could support any more. May pop. True. Dang, Diesel. Just busting on me today, aren't you? All right, let's see if I can get another couple of screws in here. top one was the one that was giving me a hard time. They're going to give me a hard time. All right, that's 3 out of 4. Don't see why that one is being a pickle. There we go. We finally got it. And you can't see a darn thing of what I'm doing because I had zoomed in. It's all good. We just got the 4 screws, so we're all good with the 4 screws. This will get covered up when we put our lower panel on, which we'll get to eventually. So we've got those in. Blue Blue is not in here, is he? Blue Chocolate is not. Okay. So we're getting close to the point where we're going to have to just make a command decision. Yeah, so the issue that I was having is here's our soon-to-be umbilical cable. The orifice on this flange is too tight. This is the one that is designed to go there by CAD and the plans. I believe this one I can get it through there because the orifice does open up a little bit bigger. Now, with that being said, this will sit up a little higher, but does have the flexibility to bend. So I think this is still going to be a workable solution. It's just going to be a pain in the butt to get everything fed through here because of the, we'll say the mechanics of the cable itself. Meaning we've got to cut both ends of the cable, but don't put connectors on, so I can shrink this down and then peel that through, and I should have enough that I can hopefully get this through without a bunch of hassle. So we're going to work on getting this side of our cable ready to go. That goes there. That goes there. These will come over here. And to do that, we're going to have to strip some of our cladding. And we've got both the outer shell and the metal grounding, which I just managed to pull off in one shot. Yay, verily. And then what I'm going to need to do, because we've got our sleeve over, making our cable look nice, I'm going to slide this down. And we're going to go ahead like that and shrink tube that down, and that should give us the nice ramp up. Let me shrink this down. We'll need to do the same on this other side here. I kind of feel like I need to do just a little bit. I need to cut my cable sleeving some more. Okay. All right, so that's the other side of the cable. So we're going to do the same thing. We'll just pull our sleeve up some right over the edge. We'll heat shrink that down, and that'll give us two good ends of the cable. Okay, so that gives us our nice umbilical cable. We didn't bother putting the sleeving on the cable that's in our cable chain because it's in the cable chain, which pretty much covers the cable up. But this is going to be free and exposed, so we need to make sure that this is able to be nicely routed through our grommeting here. Please go in. Please, please, please go in. So it does go over fairly easily once we get the once we get our heat shrink tubing around the edge. So that's good. Now what we're going to need to do is this has to screw in. We find our angle and screw this into the plastic piece. Why are you not screwing in there? All right, sounds good, Bexy. So we got that all the way down to the edge. we'll have to pull our cable through enough to do our connection. Still make sure that we have the ability to get over to the edge here. A little bit more. I don't know why I'm trying to be hard on myself, because we need to go ahead and terminate this side before I start getting too much further here. And we'll get this clipped in, and we'll figure out our loop length. And what we're going to do is I'm going to unplug this one, because this connection needs to mimic this one 100%. So I'm just going to look for what colors I used where and make it match. So the red and what I'm going to refer to as the yellow in my eyes are the power and ground. And then the white and the what is green in my eyes are going to be the data cables. And no comments from the peanut gallery there, Diesel. I know you. We got some Maker chips that just finished. Okay. These. What are you going to have Friday, Diesel? There you go. Now we have done some configuration, but just enough to get our boards recognized and make sure that we can talk to our boards. So we basically firmware updated all of the boards, and that includes our Leviathan, our GBB15, and the toolhead board, the EBB36. So once we're done here, we're just basically going to need to start setting up for configuration checks, because I want to make sure that things are up, moving, and talking right before we go through and try and get our panels and stuff put on, because there's no need of putting panels on if we don't have valid movement. Just means we'll have to take the panels off to do troubleshooting. So we leave those off to the last. Uh, Beans feels better and gets some good sleep. I got a little bit last night. I'm hoping to get a little bit more tonight. Like I said, tomorrow, Evil Diesel, what is your plan tomorrow? I'm asking because I plan on going down to Ecovate and working out of there in the morning. I thought about going into the office, but, because it's free lunch day. But, yeah. I should say I'm not that invested anymore. But if you want to come down to Ecovate, one, we can grab tacos with, what's his name? Waters. But you can also go with me as I run over to, whatchamacallit, EPAX afterwards. Because tomorrow I am going to be going in and picking out some colors to go. Like I said, burnt titanium will be the one, and then I just need to get a contrasting color. All right, so this side's in. Oh boy. That side's in. You can probably pull that wire around a little bit more, but we'll be okay there. That means that we have this side. I can stop pushing it down, and all we need to do is take this part of our PG gland, our PG7 gland here, right? So this part is screwed down into the printed part. The orifice is around it, and then we'll bring this down and screw this on, which will tighten the orifice around our wire, which will provide the strain relief to the wire. This is what it looks like it is. Second there. Yep, there. Well, I was going to go after lunch, meaning after we get tacos, because, well, the taco truck. So, yeah, anytime you're ready. So now we just need to do this other end. And once again, we're going to do this to the EBB 36, which should be the same exact. So we're going to get our wires laid out in the appropriate order. Then we'll go ahead and get this started. So we're going to do this end now. Boom. Yeah, the more I think about it, if I decide I'm not going to go in first thing in the morning for the morning meeting, then I'll just stay here. We can go down after that morning meeting at like, I don't know, 9:30, 10 o'clock. Or if you want to drive yourself, I can head down whenever. And welcome in, Playgreen. How are you? We're doing good and having fun. We're trying to get our last cable made. And I realize I am doing this not on the screen just because, well, this wire is, this cable is not the most flexible. It is an IGUS chain flex cable, but that doesn't mean that it's super flexible. It means that it's rated for use in cable chains or as an umbilical. Because it's got an inner protective strands, it's got shielding around the outside of the cable to protect from EMI, and then a pretty heavy jacket to boot. So There's our black and our red. And I think I just screwed that cable up. I did. I need to roll the top two. Now, let me see if I can get those pulled out without damaging them. Okay. Not going to be able to get those out. So it just means I need to make sure and mimic the other side. So yeah, these cables are not interchangeable to begin with because the pinout on the Leviathan side is different than the other three pinouts. So I'm just a tad bit angry with myself that I pinned out that one side wrong. Power's correct. It's just I did the can high, can low backwards. So I have to make sure and wire it the same way on this side. Oh, dang. Yeah. Yeah, no, that's right. That's thin, ground, high, and low. What you're not seeing me do right now is try and push the connector all the way in because these wires are so thin. Trying to push these thin 22 gauge wires in all the way into the connector is just a pain in the butt. So, what I'm having to do is use a pair of tweezers to gently, and not on the side, but on the top or bottom, push it the rest of the way in, because if you're going to the side has the little wings there, and you'll catch behind the wing and it won't lock in right. So you have to make sure that your cable itself is lined up right with those wings on either side. And then when you push it in, that you push it in fully so that those wings engage. All right. That will plug in right there. We've got that cable plugged in. We'll need to do a couple of zip ties to provide some strain relief right there. And then we'll have two more wires to do at the top. It'll be the in-stop wire, and the in-stop wire being the filament runout sensor, and the 3-pin cable for the piezo sensor. Okay. Those two come off. Now we've got our 2-pin wire right here for our end stop that we'll need to figure out where that goes. We'll pull up our ant head. We're looking at the EBB wiring instruction. The upper is to go on the probe pins at the PB6 and ground. And we could probably do our other sensor here for the piezo probe itself, which is over here on this side. Let me see if I can bring you guys in here and I'll show you. So this is our piezo board. This little flat cable right here goes to the sensor that's at the top of the tool head. We'll have a connector that goes in here that just needs to come around just to the edge here. Whoops. Where am I at? That'll come around just to the edge here to these probe connectors. And then this will go to this lower row of pins for the probe connector, for the end stop connector. So that's kind of where we're going to go with these. It's almost 8 o'clock. I do want to be able to go over and watch the Unspooled with Pez Liz. And I have a feeling that this wire is going to be fiddly. Now, I do have a wire that's pre-made. Let me pull that out and I'll show you what I'm looking at. That was the board. Okay. So here is the pre-made piezo wire, right? And it comes down and gives you multiple pre-crimped options, right? And I think these are the only 3 that we need to use. The others are going to be excess for what we need. So all of these DuPonts here we won't need. We'll just need these 3 connectors here, I believe. And it's great that they provide this. However, I would basically have to butcher this cable to get the cable length that I need to do this. So I need to really think how I want to do this, because I honestly do not want to even attempt to crimp that size connector. Nor do I think I have a connector that is an 8-pin connector. So my only option may be to butcher this and use it. But I'm going to do some more research before I go and do that. Good luck with the PZ. Yeah. The other thing that I know I will have to do is there are access points to a button on this board that you'll have to press to cycle through specific what am I thinking? Settings, right? There's a different set of sensitivities for that trigger, and you need to figure out the right sensitivity as you're going through. So um Seven pin connector, okay. Yeah, so all right, I'm going to flip over to this so you guys can potentially start reading some of this of what the connectors do and are standing for. I'm going to put you on mute, and I need to blow my nose real fast, so bear with me. 1. Hey, holy crap. Sorry, folks, I have no idea what happened there. I couldn't tell anything was being muted, but yeah, apparently Stream Deck decided to double mute me. So hopefully everybody's back. Thank you for saying something, Timor. Yeah, we shouldn't have been. I mean, we're a little over 2 hours in. So if the mic was dying on me, that's bad for battery life. That means I need to get new mics. But welcome on in. I'm assuming that Bearded Printer might not have heard anything that I was just saying, so my apologies. Welcome on in, Bearded Printer. How was your stream? I hope you're doing well. What were you guys working on today? The rain broke it. It might have. Yeah, the mic was picking up because somehow it reverted over to one of my Tiny 2 cameras. Don't ask me why. Yeah, so we're back again, I believe. So, yeah, thank you very much, Bearded Printer. What were you guys working on today on your stream? We've been working on wiring. We pulled 2 of the 4 fans out from underneath because it was going to be high chance of colliding with wires or something else underneath the printer. It's just safer to yeet it. And now I'm going to ask you to hold 1 second because I'm hearing sounds that I do not like hearing. Sorry about that all. That's the typical drag chain slapping up against the side of a printer sound. So yeah, we were working on the underdeck wiring. We just finished up our umbilical cable coming up to the tool head here. And there we go. So we got our umbilical cable here, which is going to be interesting because it is going to be flopping down one way or the other when we put a top panel on here, unless we do some type of a top hat. I may not put the top panel on because of that. That is a little worrisome that it is like that. So I also don't think he'll ever get this high. I mean, this is max Z height of the printer. So yeah, that's literally max Z height of the printer, which I doubt if he'll get to. But I very much would like a top hat on this for the way that this umbilical is set up. What else? We got our display put in. I do have the little piece somewhere around here, the bezel that'll go around that. This looks like it just pops in. It's got 2 little ears here that will go in the hole at the top. So let's see if we can just get that popped in. Well, does that probably have to be popped in first before we put the display in? Probably. Of course it does. I'll do that off screen or off stream. But yeah, we're getting close. Now that we have everything cabled up, we'll be able to, well, we don't have everything cabled up. We've got everything cabled up to the tool head board from the main board. We still need to cable in our PZ probe and our filament runout sensor here. And that's what we were in the process of doing when you guys raided in, and then I experienced some sound difficulties, which was we were starting to look at how do we wire this in. We do get a nice cable. The problem is we get a lot of cable, and I literally need about that much of cable. And I'm just trying to determine if I'm going to cut this and trim it down or what have you. I do not believe I have the ability to create one of these from scratch because I don't have a 7-pin connector, I don't believe. I mean, I do have... Yeah, I have pH, but I think that might... I mean, that's even worse than pH. Because this is a 6-pin pH compared to a 7-pin, whatever that is. So, yeah. My only option is really going to be to cut that and terminate the backside here, however we need to. Which right now, the one that they're telling us to use in the Anthead manual is this lower DuPont connector here. I'd much rather go into the JST connector, but I only have a single 5-volt option here, where if I go here, well, I need 5-volt ground. Yeah, the issue is the ground then. I would have to have, I could still go in with the end stop here and the probe, and then the other one up here on the end stop. But it just makes sense to pin it all down here at the same, in the probe area. So that's what we'll do. I'm loath to cut this cable, but I'm not going to have a choice of whether or not I want to cut this cable. And pretty much before I go through and cut this cable and do this wiring, I am going to look at Steve Build's stream to see how he did his wiring and how he chose to do his PZ and whether or not he was able to get his PZ probe to work well. Because the last thing I want to do is cut this nice cable. I'm sure I could get another one, but he's already had to buy the board because the board was missing out of the package. So I don't want to have to buy another cable if we don't need to. So, but that's kind of what we've been doing. We're getting close. I can't go ahead and do much else until I get these two done. And I think I'm going to call it for the night so that we can go over and catch the layer by layer stream with Pezliz and, well, it's the Unspooled podcast with Layer by Layer and I believe Moji. So let's get ready and raid on over to them. Let me see. Let me find them and get the raid set up. Do I not have? There we go. Yes. So I'm going to go ahead and get that raid started. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Bearded Printer, thank you for bringing in your crew tonight, all 29 of them. Thank you, Evil Diesel and Timor and Bexy Beans, for your resubs. I appreciate it so much. It really helps keep us going. Everybody, have a great day. We'll be back on Thursday. Hopefully, we'll have the last couple of wires done on here, and we'll be getting into a full configuration set on this. So thank you very much, everybody. Have a great night. Stay safe, and I'll see you on Thursday. Bye now. And for those of you following this on YouTube, thank you so much for being here as well. If you'd be so kind, go ahead and hit the like button below. If you like what you see, please go ahead and subscribe. Click that bell to get notified of future videos. And speaking of future videos, YouTube's going to be suggesting another one right here. Thank you. And